What happens when you think something's coming, like we've been trying to have a baby for 6 years. I think it's around the corner. I think I'm being receptive. And now I'm 43 years old and it's not there. Is it not supposed to be there? Am I blocking it from coming?
Well, this is always true. If there's something that I think about a lot and it is not becoming the way I want it to become, my thoughts are in the way. Why are my thoughts in the way? Because I'm focused upon what is. I'm giving more attention to what is, which is absence of baby, than I am about what is wanted. We've had this conversation with so many women, and it is such a common thing that they can't get pregnant, they can't get pregnant, they can't get pregnant, they can't get pregnant, they can't get pregnant. So they say, all right, let's go another way. So they adopt. They adopt a baby, and then they get pregnant. So what changed? No more lack of baby in their mind. But what that means is, and almost everybody does this, but you got to cut it out because it's not fun and it's not serving you. Almost everybody offers almost all of their vibration in response to what they're observing. And that's what we meant as we began here today. The reality that is manifested, what you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch, this manifested reality, it's more vivid. It's so real. You can see it and you can talk about it and other people can look at it and you can have conversations about it. It feels so real and it feels so tangible. And therefore, most of you are obsessed with this reality. So you don't think much beyond what already is, which means what already is can't change. If you're just observing what is, and what is what you're thinking about, and what you're thinking about is creating what is, then it's changing constantly, but it's just changing to more of the same. So that's where we come in, and we want to introduce you to this whole other vibrational world that you've forgotten about. We want to introduce you to all of the gestation, the vibrational gestation that happens before there is a physical baby in the womb gestating. There's a whole lot happening before that 9-month gestation period begins, you see. What you're doing with that matters a lot too. So you just can't get around it. You just cannot be focused in opposition to what you want and have what you want come easily. Now, your mind wants to argue with that because there are people all over the planet getting pregnant that don't even care about being pregnant. Why is it so easy for them? Because they're not blocking it. They're not in angst about it. They have not thought so much about it. We've said to you for years that if you'll start with things that you feel easier about in order to teach yourself how easily things will come to you. But most of you instead, you take the subject that matters the most, that you've been struggling with the longest, and that's the one that you want to then begin applying deliberate creation to. But you just can't get around it because what is so vivid in your vibration.
But when it takes two, does that mean maybe his vibration is influencing more than mine?
Good try.
So I could literally make this baby all on my own.
Not literally. But you can be inspired to the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is to get off the subject or accomplish it in some way that you do believe in.
Can you really think you want something, but subconsciously you don't?
You can really think you want something and not be aware that you're contradicting that thought with more dominant thoughts. But it isn't that you don't want it, it's that you want it and it's in the vortex, but your thoughts are not in harmony with what you want.
So your subconscious isn't working against you.
The thing about subconscious, people want to talk about that. They want to blame it on their subconscious just like you want to blame it on your husband.
Yeah. I'm glad he's not here.
The thing about subconscious thoughts, for a vibration to have enough momentum that it's a big player in your point of attraction. Momentum is the word that we really want you to hear. for it to be a big enough player that it's affecting your point of attraction in one way or another, you would feel it. You would feel the emotion of it. A subconscious thought, you don't have any emotional response to. So there's not enough momentum in it for it to be a big enough player in your point of attraction. So people worry about subconscious thoughts, and there's nothing about any subconscious thought that's ever in anybody's way, because every single time you think a thought that's in contradiction to something that you want, you know it because you feel negative emotion that feels like doubt or fear or uneasiness or frustration. So if you're feeling emotion about it, it's a big thought. Let's not call it subconscious. Let's call it a contradictory thought. But the reason people want to call it subconscious, it's easy to understand, it's the same reason you want to blame it on your husband, is because your logic says, wait a minute, Abraham, I really want that. So I wouldn't sabotage what I want unless I'm doing it subconsciously and I just don't know I'm doing it. We say, no, you're sabotaging it with negative thought all day, every day. And you just won't admit it because you won't even admit that you're having negative thought about it, or you don't understand what negative thought means. Negative thought means there is right here, right now, an active vibration within me that is contradicting my own desire. And that's not subconscious. So what could a thought like that sound like? I want a baby and I don't have one.
I'll be like my mother. That's why I wondered about the subconscious, because you grow up in an environment and you want to do something different, but you feel like it's a part of you.
In what way is that thought, I'll be like my mother, subconscious? That was right out here in the open. Not only was it right out here in the open, it's been right out here in the open for a long, long time. And you have a history of emotional responses to that thought. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about somebody, really everybody, who's willing to put up with negative emotion because you don't know what it means. If you knew your negative emotion means you're contradicting your own desire and keeping your own desire from being clear enough that you can move steadily toward what you want, you wouldn't do it. But most people don't know what negative emotion means. You're just used to being ornery and used to being negative and used to feeling that way about your mother. And so it feels normal to feel that way.
It feels like it's all buried in the past. Like it's
not buried. It's right here in the middle of this conversation. It's not buried. It isn't buried. It might have happened a long time ago, but you've dragged it forward with you every step into your new future. It's not buried. It's active. And as long as it's active, it's contradicting something that you want. Ooh. Don't you like knowing that? So we don't know what to do about it. Good luck. Goodbye. Good luck with that. Our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Even if you feel like you've done all the processes to feel differently about it or to change it, or you don't feel like you think about it often.
Well, here's the thing. Ooh, doesn't this sound like hard work? It really does. She's been dragging this around for years. And so have you, one thing or another. And so, are there enough processes in the world? Could you get to the bottom of that? Are there enough hours left in your lifetime? It's a long life, but just the same. Are there enough hours left in your lifetime to process all of that? Because got to take it subject by subject and get to the bottom of all of it. We're being sarcastic because, of course, there are not enough hours to do that. And it's the most ineffective thing that we could think of for you to begin doing. Or consider this. Every time you're living a moment without something that you want, you are launching another rocket about what you want. And so, is it logical to you that in this vibrational reality, we call it the vortex, we wanted so much for you to accept its existence, we wrote 2 books about it. It's a vibrational reality that does exist. And just like you can't see the fetus in the womb at the very early stages, there is a vibrational fetus that you can't see as it gets more and more and more. And sometimes it can be full and ready to be born, and you don't let it be born because you still can't see it because you're tuned to its opposition. So every time you have this awareness of something missing, you ask for it more. And so it becomes more and more and more and more and more. It becomes ready for you, but you've got to be ready for it. But you can't be ready for what's growing vibrationally when you're letting all of your vibration be about what you're looking at, which includes its absence. You see what we're getting at? So we could talk on and on. We could write hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of processes about how you could begin to exercise more mind control. You need to control your mind. And when you try to think that thought, don't. Instead, think that thought. Good luck with that. Because law of attraction has a bead on what you've been thinking, and that's what law of attraction is dishing up to you. This is what you usually think, and so this is what you usually pick up. Your range isn't very far from where you are. So what are we going to do, Abraham? I got this pattern of thought, and law of attraction won't let me deviate very much from it. And yet my desire is very far from what I am mostly thinking about. I'm mostly thinking about not having enough money when I really want a lot of money. I'm mostly thinking about not having a lover when I really want a lover. I'm mostly thinking about not having a baby when I really want a baby. What am I going to do? I can't control my thoughts, and law of attraction won't help me. Law of attraction will not help me change my thoughts. Law of attraction only gives me more of the same thoughts I'm already thinking. So what am I going to do? You could croak. You could get a lobotomy. That'll slow you down. You could take a nap. But when you wake up, you're going to pick right back up where you were because nothing changed vibrationally, really. Your propensity for the way you think. Or you could deliberately quiet your mind through the meditative process. And you could do it today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. You could do it for about 30 days. You could do it every day for 15 or 20 minutes. And you could practice focusing on something not interesting, like the hum of the air conditioner in the room or the buzz of something. You could focus on something boring and not very interesting until you show yourself that you can quiet your thought. And if you do it not in the middle of a big rampage of what you don't want, but instead when you first wake up before that rampage has gathered much momentum, you could quiet your mind. And when you quiet your mind, your vibration will rise. And you will find a vibrational equivalency, not only to your inner being, but to the desire that is over there with your inner being. And if you would do that on a consistent basis, you would have access through law of attraction to thoughts that you currently don't have access to. Because when you find vibrational equivalency with your inner being who only thinks about what you want, can you feel the perfection of the way this morning has unfolded? And all of the things that we've been talking about? When you find vibrational equivalency with your inner being by quieting your mind that usually isn't equivalent, and your vibration rises, you have this vibrational equivalency that you're not practiced yet at translating into words because it's too new of an experience for you. Esther is so practiced at finding vibrational equivalency with Abraham that she can speak the words that are the vibrational equivalent to what we are offering. You see what we're getting at? She's tuned herself so the words come easily to her. They won't come easily to you in the beginning, but you'll feel an impulse. And if you stay with it long enough and don't contradict who you really are long enough, you will come to know that there is nothing that you can want that cannot easily come into being.
So the concept of it's not meant to be is false.
The concept of I'm not letting something I want be because I'm focused in vibrational opposition to it is true. And the reason you say it's not meant to be is what we just said earlier. Abraham, I wouldn't do this to me. I don't want this. I wouldn't do this to me. And we say, we didn't say you did it intentionally, but we did say you did it because you were feeling negative about something. And after all, doesn't everybody feel negative? You give yourself permission to feel negative because they do too. You join together in other groups that are negative about the same thing and you think it makes you feel better, but it doesn't. Oh yeah, we're all in agreement about how bad this is. We think this is a really good time.